Okay, so I said last episode that I was going to do pictures at an exhibition, but it's not really a 20th century work. I know, like, I was thinking that maybe because the orchestration by Ravel is like from the 20s, that maybe it would be worth looking at, but I should just firmly leave it in the 19th century and instead talk about the Rite of Spring. Okay, yeah, so this is my Dover miniature score of the Rite of Spring. I bought this in 2013, I believe. I would have been in my undergrad in Toronto. And you can see it's not a pocket score. It's like, I don't know, 5.5 inches by 8 inches. I guess I was attracted to the Dover scores at the time because they came in all of these nice colors. 2013 was a big Stravinsky year, so I think I was trying to get into his music because my teachers were advising I should. There was going to be like a big performance of the Rite of Spring in Toronto, I think, by the Esprit Orchestra that year. So, yeah, I wanted to get to know it a little bit at least at the time. Yeah, so this edition was published in 2000, and it looks like it has a foreword by Boris Mikhailovich Yarostovsky. This is a very big piece, like it's a very important piece in music history. It was very controversial, and it was a huge production by Ballet Russe under the direction of Sergei Diaghilev. And at the time, Stravinsky was like an up-and-comer being commissioned to write this huge modernist ballet kind of thing. He got to work with these huge forces, so whenever someone has to mount this piece, it is really a lot. It looks like it's 4 5 5 5, and then for the brass it's 8 5 3 2. There's 2 timpani. I'm not sure if that's 2 timpani drums or 2 actual timpani parts. And then a bunch of percussion: triangle, tambourine, guiro, crotales, cymbals, bass drum, tam-tam, and strings. Some of the doublings here. So flute 3 has to double on piccolo, flute 4 is on alto. And then oboe 4 is doubling on English horn, oboe 5 is only on English horn. I guess clarinet 2 has to double on bass. Clarinet 3 is only clarinet 4 is only bass, and clarinet 3 is only E flat or D. So high clarinets. And then the 4th bassoon doubles on contrabassoon. 5th bassoon is only contrabassoon. And horns 7 and 8 double on tenor tuba. That's kind of like euphonium. The 5th trumpet is on piccolo trumpet in D. And the 4th trumpet doubles on trumpet in E flat. But bass trumpet in E flat, which is even more obscure than a piccolo trumpet in E flat. The 2 tubas is extravagant. That's a lot of brass. The 8 horns obviously is pretty crazy too. And yeah, this is a ballet, but it's mostly performed as a orchestral suite, like a ballet suite it's become better known as a instrumental work, I would say. It's influenced a huge number of composers, many of which we've looked at on this channel already, and it was a very controversial piece. It's quite dissonant, uses the octatonic scale throughout, and it's rhythmically very interesting and extravagant. It opens with this famous high bassoon solo. You may have seen the work used in Fantasia to set dinosaurs, the dinosaur animation. Stravinsky famously hated the use of it in Fantasia, and he obviously wanted it to be appreciated just as an abstract piece of instrumental music. If you want to get to know Stravinsky's bio, I've already covered it on the channel in this episode from way back in our string quartet series. The introduction, The Kiss of the Earth, is probably the most famous movement in terms of like what composers were inspired by. It's this long, slow build with layers and layers of wind instruments, and it's quite something to behold. So I would really recommend just looking at that if you can get your hands on a score. And there's many other famous parts, but I won't bore you going through all of them. And I'll see you in just over half an hour. I think it's about how long the suite runs, and I'll let you know my thoughts. Haven't listened to it in a really long time. Obviously, I've listened to it dozens of times and know it quite well, but maybe there's something I can pull from it now that I wouldn't have been able to 7 or 8 years ago. If you want to listen to the same recording I'm listening to, it's in the video description. And hopefully this is a good experience for you if it's your first time hearing it. It's a very old piece at this point. It's over 100 years old, and it is, I think, a part of the classical canon. Even though it's 20th century music, it is classical music at this point, and something that anyone who wants to know the classical canon should know. Okay, yeah, so this was really fun to revisit. I don't know why I don't listen to this more often. If you aren't aware, the premise of the ballet is that a young woman in some ritualistic like religious ceremony dances herself to death, and it's very metal concept, obviously, and I think Stravinsky really delivers. Like, by the end of this, I was really thinking, like, yeah, that girl is dead, very dead. Like, it just keeps getting heavier. Like the finale to the second half is much more intense than the finale to the first half. It's pretty impressive in that way. I also think that on this listen, I was noticing a lot of like little strange counter melody things or like textural things that really add to the piece. Like occasionally I would see in the score like strange use of wind instrument to like color, like just for example, like muted trumpet to color some other wind choir, just with a tiny little counter melody, or like towards the beginning there's this moment where you have like this rapid figuration in the alto flute underpinning some slower melodies in the winds, just stuff like that. I think my favorite part, and this has always been my favorite part of the piece, is the start of the second half, where we finally get some slow tempi and we get these really gorgeous like high string sounds. To put this piece in context, I think it would be important to listen to Debussy as well. Like Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun was 1890s, I think, so 20 years before this was written. And if I'm trying to like get in Stravinsky's headspace, I think he probably was drawing a lot from Debussy in his orchestration and like his general approach to harmony, because Debussy was already doing the whole tone scale thing, and this is all octatonic scale. So it's really unclear what the tonal center is, but you do get these like gorgeous sort of like harmonies and tonal moments out of it. Obviously went on to influence a lot of other composers. I remember the first time I listened to some of Varèse's early works, I was surprised how much it sounded like the Rite of Spring. It's almost like he was solely influenced by this piece at the start of his career, and the high string sounds and harmonics have definitely like There's one moment where there's like these clarinet flourishes. You probably can think of the moment, like these upward clarinet flourishes into high flutes and string harmonics, and it really reminded me of this early piece by Berio called Capriccio, I think, for like clarinet and ensemble. It opens with sound that's almost identical to that, or it's like close to the opening. And yeah, I just think a lot of composers in the 20th century, like their early work is influenced deeply by this piece. And yeah, it's really fantastic listen on its own here. I think next we're going to listen to a little bit of Mahler 6 because technically it is composed in the 20th century. And then we'll keep going from there. But yeah, we are very far back in time at this point.